Oh, hello. This is
Hello.
Tom, and today, and welcome to. Oh, sorry, sorry. Welcome to the live hangout, Global CE-5 hangout, and shout out to all the people in the CE-5 initiative and ET Let's Talk and everybody else. Um, we're here live from Denmark, and today we have James, who is from Reality Exploration. He's kind of muted out, but he's he's in the hangout, and we have a new guest. James has been here before, and we have another UK guest today. So shout out to UK. Nice to see two people. And would you like to introduce yourself? Have some pretty amazing experiences to share. So would you
Yes,
like?
yeah, my name's thanks for having me along, Tom.
Hmm?
This is a very spur of the moment thing. I think synchronicity is going haywire, so it's probably the reason I'm here. But my name's Resh. I'm based in the UK. I live in Bath, in Bath. I'm happy to talk about the experiences that I've had, as and when you're ready for me to talk about them, Tom. So, yeah.
Yes. No, yeah, but yes. Yeah, yeah. Well, as we just we were just having a talk. I think you have one of those experiences that is worth sharing, and also as I said, it was interesting. I was thinking I would like it would be nice for someone who has a background, a more scientific background, perhaps to come and hang out, and then you're here, and as you said, you had a degree in aerospace.
Mhm.
So that was interesting synchronicity. And I must also say, what's going on in the world at the moment? it's, it's like I was, with all the all the stuff going on at the moment. I've had a few days with the tinfoil hat days when you think, what's going on? Don't people see this? And we were actually just making fun, the Pokemon game and all these things happening right after some kind of psyop attack from the reptilians or something. But yes, we live in strange times, I think, and there's a lot of it comes in waves, I think, and this has been a crazy summer. Usually, actually, in Denmark we call the summer, I don't know what you call it in English. We call it the Gurketid, which means cucumber time, because there's nothing going on in the news. The politicians are on holidays, and so there's no big stuff. But this summer has been really strange, with the Brexit, with and thank you, and all these things. So it feels like there's something going on, and
Mm.
very it kind of like the lines are being drawn, and that's pretty sad somehow. But we are here to talk about the other kind of things going on. Um, of course, we know that this, at least if the kind of groups we're in here, this is a kind of like um, of course, it's about the contact and developing the contact, finding out what is this and the lights in the sky, but also, the implication it has, as you said, this is something going on inside as well, and how do you? This is something that profoundly changes the way people experience, life as well. Down here, it's not just the contact; it's also very much about what's going on down here. And come on, like with tomato. I'm just gonna give you an update on the tomatoes because we've been growing tomatoes this year. Um, let's try something new, but there was sort of philosophy behind it as well, because I think that if you want to try to connect to project yourself outwards. It's a very good thing to be grounded, and I think we're
Yes.
going to talk about that also, because if you want to draw something in, or how should I say, first you have to project yourself out somehow, and then if you're very connected to where you are, you're easy to find somehow, if you understand, but it also makes it easier for you to stay connected to the things down here. And that's actually what it's all about. I think this is. I think we always think of this as some kind of evolutionary thing. This is something everybody's gonna live. This is just something starting, and that's all I'm saying. That there's things in motion. There's a lot of things happening.
Mm.
But let's hear your story. Go ahead and
Okay.
share your
Okay.
experience just like we did. And as I said, we have plenty of time, so take all the
Okay.
time you want.
Okay. I appreciate that, Tom. Um, yeah, I'll start off by saying my experiences are ongoing to a certain extent. They seem to there's a connection there, and I don't know what that connection is. I wouldn't, even dare to try and define it. But they pop in every now and again just to let me know that that connection is still there. But the bulk of the really powerful experiences, which left a genuinely indelible mark and made my life very difficult for a good couple of years. In all honesty, it was back in 2010, 2011 that the bulk of these experiences happened. And I still, it's nice to be in this environment, but I still hesitate a lot, and I still pause a lot when I try and talk about them, because the the main reason is they were so powerful and they were so impressive and so obvious. It's only been in the last few months that I've come back to it and seen people have any experiences that are reasonably similar or close. It sounds like I'm being very big-headed about the whole thing.
Oh,
You
not
know,
at all, not
you
at
know,
all. This is
and
exactly that. How do you find people to share this with? And that's how we did that. Yes.
yeah,
Mhm. My wife says that she wants she wants me to tell you that she says the reason why you are relaxed about this is because right from the start you took control of the thing. You understand?
okay,
And
thanks.
that's why. But being hesitant. This same thing here. This I'm very. First of all, I don't try to judge my experience at all, and as I understand you do that. That's the same way you approach it. I don't know what's going on. We call them star visitors. At least the lights in the sky. But
Mm,
I'm not 100%. There's a connection between all these things, but exactly what it is, I don't know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah. But go ahead.
I, I'm I'm a bit of a when I have spoken to people about this, they get a little bit frustrated because I don't have any experience with reptilians or anything like that, or I wouldn't even classify anything. And so when I read stories about that, or hear
Yeah.
people describe their experiences where they where they classify species, and recount these stories of uh, information being downloaded, or whatever the case may be. I know this is a very strange arena to admit this, but it all sounds a bit too woo-woo for me. So I can only go with the experiences that I've had. So
Yeah.
Um,
That's yeah.
I respect, of course, I respect everyone, and the right to express their opinions about their experiences, but that's all we can do. We can only be as knowledgeable as the experiences that we've had. So that's sort of the angle that I take.
Yeah.
Now, so going back to 2010, so before we went live, Tom, I was telling you about the experiences that I had at uni and how that sort of kick-started everything. And then I didn't do anything for the summer, and I had no intention of doing anything. And then the Perseid meteorite shower, as I've mentioned before, I always wanted to go out and see it, or see a meteorite shower. So I went out in my back garden this particular night and sat there for about half an hour, lying on my table and watching the meteorites go by. And I decided to. Oh, hello.
Hi.
I decided to instigate contact basically for the first time, and as I mentioned to you before, I didn't have the confidence to simply project thoughts. The idea of I'm so sorry about this, Tom, because it sounds like I'm sort of poo-pooing what you do, but the idea of sort of meditating or spending the time meditating, it didn't make sense to me, because at the end of the day, if that's the way they communicate, it's technology, and the idea of technology is to make things simple. So
Mm-hmm.
why would you spend 5 minutes meditating before you pick up the mobile phone?
No, no,
So,
I don't think that. But I think I think there's this is some form of conscious-based science.
oh,
Really advanced,
but I'm not saying that. Yeah, I'm not
I'm
saying
saying
that now.
this. So I agree, and
Yeah,
that's also what these things. We always see them from the perspective of human, and
yes,
that's
yeah,
and that's, as you said, you don't classify any of your experience as reptilians or these things, and I don't really do that either, because I don't know what they are, but astrally travel, out of body things and stuff like that. I It's almost always human looking beings, okay? And
yes,
in
yeah,
my lucid dreams, it's kind of different, because I know I'm lucid. I have this contact, whatever you want to guide, whatever you want to call it, and she is female, and she takes the form of my wife. But she's definitely not my wife, because my wife knows nothing about high energy physics or anything of the things that come into play in these weird and exciting experiences. So I agree on that one. Just want to say hello, Ollie. Welcome.
Hi,
Hi,
hi
Ollie.
everybody.
Hello.
I'm just making a sign because I wanted something to say about the meditation thing. Yeah. I started meditating Buddhistic practices at the age of 13, and I've learned quite of things happening without any influences of synthesis or chemicals for the body. So I experienced that everything you can reach about how you breathe, how you try to think, and the impulse you're sending out, how you wish, for example. Why we need 5 or 10 minutes meditating before something happens? That's not because of them, that's because of us. The thing is, the filters here are closed, so we can live in this very, very little culture. And we need to open this to hear them in the right concern. They are at the conscious level, that they are telepathic speaking with each other. And they can read us without any need of meditation. Okay, but I am continuously thinking, and I know that my brothers are hearing what I'm thinking, but I am now not in the high grade of consciousness that I can receive anything. And as you told, techniques are making things simpler for us. I agree, until the point where I tell that techniques is a prothesis for the humankind. We know what we want to achieve. We have the feeling that we can do this, but until we achieve the consciousness that this or this organ does this now for me, it's asleep in my body, and because it's asleep, I make something outside of my body. I call it science, I call it techniques, I call it the book print, and I think I'm advanced, but in the end, it's just a prosthesis for something I can do it in the end. For example, it's also misunderstanding. We don't have enough words for this stuff. It's not a simple meditation, or meditation is never simple, but it's not a simple meditation. In a normal meditation, you want to get still. You want to get rid of the body and be a part of everything. So meet God or whatever. And in this situation, you are not anymore in your body. You're part of everything. And it's very nice, and you don't want to come back, but shit, the heart is pumping, and with the next heart pump, you are again inside of this body. So you are the spirit which is making a real life experience in a dualistic system. And so we need the meditation like a preparation to be sure for us we want this contact. I have just short to tell. I have made some CE-5s in Berlin, and now I moved to Serbia. That's more at the balcony. And the CE-5 groups we had were there happened some stuff. Some people had communication, some had feeling, some just get a picture. I had in one meditation 3 different kinds of contact, but we did not see anything with our eyes, okay? Mm-hmm. And there were little spots somewhere like satellites on the sky, and I thought to myself, you know, brothers and sisters, if you want to show yourself to me, please don't be just a dot, okay? Be so huge that I can't say that they're not there, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, and it happened to me that I have then heard someday that Dr. Greer said that it happened also in his groups that if somebody is not 100% sure if this meeting would be cool for him, they know this because they are telepathic. They can read us like an open book.
Very important point.
And they won't show up.
Hello.
Hello, darling.
Because who's talking this much? But that's very. I think it's a very important point. And when you go into, and that's also as we were talking about the meditation, also get, you know, don't bring fear into this, or doubt. If you have to do this like whole heart, with your whole heart, you know,
or with all your eyes.
You know, you detach yourself from everything, kind of, you know, all your fears and everything, because then this is going to work. But if you're fearful, if you're doubtful, or even, you know, really scared, then as you said, they won't come.
Or just one in your group. I think
it's really, as I said, you know, this is not just something people say because it didn't work or something. This is exactly because there are many people doing this, and it's accumulated knowledge in the groups that if someone is really afraid, actually, we shared an experience. My wife and I, and with some other people, not here, but another place not far from here. We were standing outside having cigarettes, 4 people, and and a huge craft comes flying by, you know, really low, and I knew right away what it was. But, you know, it's kind of feeling, you know, not going, whoa, look at the UFO, guys. So it's like, oh, I think that might be ISS, or I don't know, I think that might be a UFO. It looks like a UFO, but I think it might be ISS. But it was way too low and way too fast and way too bright. And this woman, she goes, well, I hope it's the last you know, ISS and not a UFO. And I said, you know, you don't have to, you know, don't worry, they're not to be feared. And exactly when I say that, it blinks out. So it was definitely not ISS, because it doesn't just go away in the middle.
Let me just tell my story to the end.
Yeah.
2 weeks after this CE-5, I think it was the 5th I have done in Berlin, and the group was shrinking. First time we were about 20, second time we were about 12, and at the 5th time we were 3 people. So at the last time, also not much happened, and I gone away. 2 weeks after that, I had a meeting with a director, a friend of mine in Berlin, and he had visitors from USA, some younger people. I won't now tell children because they were 19, 20, but we were somewhere south of Berlin, outside in the lake. And this is a lake for the whole city to go swimming. And we decided to stay the night. We made a little fire. They ate some mushrooms. I smoked a little bit. And the girl was a little bit afraid. She came from New York. She told me she never slept in the wilderness. And I thought to myself, okay, wilderness in Germany? Okay. Don't be afraid. I will be longer awake and watch you. Half an hour after my 3 friends slept away, I had my CE-1. There was one that was also interesting. This other guy told also there was no indirect light, and it was the same of me. I have seen light up from me, but no light, diffuse light on the water or the trees. Okay, so I think this light was only seen from a third eye. Whatever. One disc was huge, like a tennis ball, and the other was like a little coin, a 50-cent coin. And there were flying information above me. And then some seconds happened in my mind. First thinking, I have to shoot a photo. And then I thought to myself, shit, it's a smartphone. It takes 30 seconds until the application is online, so they will be gone. Okay. The second thinking I had, I have to wake everybody up. Yeah, I was not upset. How do you call it? I was like not angry. I was full of energy. I have to wake everybody up. So they have to see it, and so on. And then I calmed down and had the deep feeling inside from me, came from up. This moment is just for you. So now relax and enjoy. And they're gone away, and I had my experience. So in the end, they waited on a particular time to answer my call, but it was not on a CE-5. It was 2 weeks after that, when they thought it's now a good and ideal situation to show up.
Mhm.
And I know for myself, I'm connected to my brothers and sisters, and I don't especially mean now the grace, whatever, okay? I mean the ones who are at the higher grade of consciousness, who are in a kind of, they have rules like don't interact with cultures who don't have warp technology or whatever, who don't have a consciousness state, like the main directive of Star Trek, you know.
Yeah.
And but they are there, and every time in some religion, when you are, how do you call it, beten, how do you call it? When you say something to the angels and please help me or whatever, you have
pray.
to pray. Thank you.
Pray. Yeah, pray.
Every time when you pray, they are hearing you. They are open, and then they have the possibility somehow to interact. Before you don't pray and ask them or from favor, they have not the possibility from their rules to help you.
Oh yeah, I guess that probably is something to that. And also, but I also think, you know, when we're talking about the conscious thing, the matter versus mind, you know, can you obviously you're all the time interacting with the world, you know, just by observing it. We know that from the quantum physics and all this stuff. But also when we were talking about prayers or meditation and doing this and fears and all this stuff, this is also talking about intent. Because, you know, if you Pray for Paris hashtag, whatever, on Facebook. If you think about that, if everybody actually did what they're saying, you know, with the intent, that will probably have an effect. So, so I think you know, it's not so much about belief or faith. It's much more about, you know, intent.
Yeah.
And as I said with the content, you know, having the positive experience, you know, and being in control is very important, not to do it in fear. And that's what I was saying, because there's a lot of the, you know, they're only the good ETs, all the ETs. We always talk about the more philosophical way of approaching it, you know, how do you cope with the fact, if you, as a species, always when we talk about telepathy, you know, would you like to be telepathic, you know, could you, and you would listen to the thoughts of everybody around you, and everybody goes, you must be crazy. Yeah, but what are the implications? Well, you have to do something about it, you know. What do you do? Either you clean your thoughts, you know, become a very highly evolved being, kind of.
And then you're living alone because nobody
you,
can with you anymore. Yeah.
You could perhaps go the other direction and become a pure logical being. Understand what I'm saying? Where you completely erase all feelings, and then you would also be able to be telepathic. But what I'm saying is, I think that sometimes some of these experiences people have, because I think there are races that have taken that direction. They could be, you know, so we are ants to them. So the whole evil, blah blah blah, whatever thing is, you know, they will crush us if it's logical. There's probably no logical reason why they should, you know. So don't worry. But that, you know, the connection and the feelings, the feelings, because this is very much about feelings. People get. I don't get any in the dreams. We talk. That's direct communication.
Lucid dreaming, you mean? Yeah.
Lucid dreaming, yes. But in the meditation and signing and all this, there might be some connection or feeling of something like the follow your heart and tell message or something. I feel, but it's not like, hello, this is us telling you da da da. It's like it's more like a feeling. And that's why I agree about this. You know, when people say I went to this and this planet, I met this alien, he was called that and that. You know. That's with the way you interpret things, you know.
One thing is to see something, and another to interpret it in the right direction. That's a whole issue in the occultism when you are looking in cards or looking in the coffee or try to say something about the future, about somebody or an event. And so it's one thing what you see, and you need much experience to make this what you see in the right fitting for the person who is sitting in front of you. I had in first CE-5 I had first what I've seen was an electromagnetic field, and I really did not know why do I see now some electromagnetic fields. And the second picture I got was an energy device I've seen in some documentations about free energy. I'm from Yugoslavia, so I'm interested in everything from Tesla. And through that, I have gone through different free energy projects, and I've seen one particular thing that was not logical for me. Yeah? And in this picture, I got an explanation why this functions so. This was the first I've seen in the CE-5, and then I had to break up because we were too much people, too much action. I couldn't get as deep in meditation or stillness to get something, whatever, a feeling, a picture, whatever. And a few minutes after that, I got only an impression of the person on the other side, who was a little bit at the side, looking at me, not offend with his body, but more like a side, and looking and smiling, and he had a blue skin, not like we. He was blue, like Smurf, something like that. And that was all. That was the first two expressions I got, like pictures, nothing more, not a conversation. He did not sit there. We did not drink a tea or something like that. And I think that is a particular thing, how much I am drown on the ground, how deep I'm here, and how much filters are opened, how high I can raise. I had different experiences in my life with fasting. When I fast my body, I rise my consciousness. I got much more feelings for my surroundings and what is happening, and so. But in this particular situations, I was very close to the other grades, and I was not interested anymore to do something with the rest of the people because they were so low. And then I had a time where I had again to start to drink and eat like them, to be between them,
Yeah.
and to come back.
James apparently can't get his mic to work, but that's too bad. So, Ollie, you're gonna
Yes.
have to. Yeah, are you naked, man? Sorry. You have to do R-rated stuff. Ollie's on the line, you know. Expect naked men and joints in the hangout.
Do you want to see some nipples?
R-rated
man,
stuff.
yeah,
Ollie's on again.
It's really hot here, and I got home and I nearly shivered it off me, and over 30 degrees in the night. So yes,
I'm sorry, I
but
just
other
can't.
side.
I can't help. Okay, but yeah, thanks. Sorry. I was just thinking, Ollie, are you aware that you're naked in the hangout?
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. We are open-minded people, so that's cool. But I would like to. Ollie, you had plenty of time in the hangout before, so I would like to. Would you like to, reply to any of this? Our new guest.
Yeah. Well, Ollie, it's nice to meet you, and James, obviously as well. My silent partner in the UK. Yeah. So what I was, if you don't mind, guys, because this is turning out to be a bit of an unusual evening for me because I haven't been in this environment with these kind of people for quite a long time, and it would be really interesting to recount. Yeah, I mean, without sounding sort of big-headed or self-involved about it, recount the experiences that I've had to see what you think of it, and see what you make of it. If that's okay with you guys, and I'll try and be sort of as quick as I possibly can.
We have time, don't worry.
So, I mean, going back to the meteorite shower that I mentioned. I mean, my stance on meditating in advance of instigating contact is more open now. I think what I was saying, Ollie, was back then it made more sense to me to just sort of talk to the sky because it made me more coherent. I was more confident in doing that, and it sort of got rid of the white noise in the mind. It was just a focused train of coherent thought. So that's the reason I did it. Mm-hmm. And after about 15 minutes, I mean, obviously I'd seen meteorites go by back and forth and so on and so forth, and I'd seen satellites go across the sky. I saw a very, very faint white light come into my field of view, and I thought, okay, it's another satellite. But as soon as I focused my attention on it, it stopped, it flashed a couple of times, and then it moved in a different direction and then zipped off in the other direction. And I thought, okay, well that's unusual.
That's enough for the logic. Thank you.
Yeah. Satellites don't do that. It's not an iridium flare. It's not anything like that. But, and this is the big but, I kept asking for something spectacular, something obvious, something immediately apparent. So that was the first night. I went outside the second time, and whereas it had taken me about 15 or so minutes to get that to happen, literally as soon as I was outside and I started talking to the sky, I'd say within about 30-40 seconds, another white light came in, flashed a few times, and then went off. So it had happened quicker. So I think the idea that now I was sort of on their radar, quote unquote. 5, but it wasn't what I wanted to see. I wanted to see something very impressive, and I mean it was.
May I ask you why impressive? Why spectacular? When you say spectacular, I always think on a circus with elephants and giraffes.
I wanted something that was incontrovertible, Ollie. I wanted something that was so obvious.
It's like my thinking, don't please be just a dot, please be huge, exactly. So I can identify you.
Exactly, yeah, that's exactly it. You don't want to sort of go to people and say, oh, I saw a little white light in the sky and I believe in aliens now, So the second night it happened again, but then I carried on talking to the sky, and within about sort of 5-6 minutes, exactly in my line of sight, an enormous crisp white teardrop appeared. I mean, it was massive. It just materialized into existence. Had a great big red ball in the middle of it. It was such a crisp outline, the white teardrop. Just materialized, went across the sky for a few seconds, and then dematerialized. And I thought, okay, well, that's good.
That's quite impressive.
Yeah.
That's bingo.
But again, in my mind, I thought, do you know what? If I explain that to anyone, they're going to think it's a meteorite. Well, a meteorite doesn't materialize into existence, go across the sky for a few seconds silently, and then dematerialize.
Just a meteor with a warp drive, yeah.
Yeah. If it was a meteorite, my town wouldn't be there anymore. So I didn't do anything for another couple of weeks, and I was sat in my bedroom on the computer at sort of 11:30 at night, and I had no intention of going out this night, but I just felt this really, really big urge to go outside. No voices, nothing like that. Just
a feeling, just more of a feeling it comes.
Yeah. I mean, it was so strong that I thought I was going crazy. I had to go outside. Again, no thoughts. I just had to go outside. So I went outside and I didn't see anything. I thought, oh, for fuck's sake, I am actually going crazy now. But I started talking to the sky anyway. And in my back garden, the house is in such a way that you can only just see the rooftops of the houses on the other side of the street. And I saw, after about 5-6 minutes, a little red and a green light doing that. And it was maybe about 3 or 4 feet above the rooftops of the houses, but because it was a little red and a green light, I thought it's aircraft navigation lights. So I carried on looking around and looked back at it, and it was getting closer and closer, and it was completely silent. But because it looked familiar, I ignored it. So I carried on looking around, and eventually this thing came over the threshold of my back garden, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. If it was a light aircraft, it would have been and gone in a matter of seconds. It would have made the most god-awful noise. It had no business being 4 or 5 feet above the rooftops of people's houses at 11:30 at night. And this thing was completely silent and moving inches across the sky, and it was just a little red and green light. But when it moved over my garden wall, and it's about, sort of between 80 to 100 feet above the ground, so very low, this great big silver disc suddenly appeared in between the 2 balls of light, and then there were suddenly several other balls of light, and they were just flickering around the disc. And it was, so I'm standing like this looking up at it, it's angled down, and it stays with me for about 7 or 8 minutes, just moving sort of inches across the sky until it goes over the back wall. The disc disappears, all the other lights disappear save the original red and green one. And whereas it had been a completely crystal clear, really clear night, it became enveloped in mist, and it carried on sort of bobbing along the street. And when it was there, I mean, I was saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But the thing was, the night before, 2 weeks before, one of the things I'd asked for was to see the Earth from space. So I thought they'd come to pick me up. So I was like, I'm not ready. I'm really, really not ready for that. So
Yeah.
thank you very much. I really appreciate
Well,
that.
you
That's
can
fantastic.
see, you can go to space. Just do an OBE out of body.
Yeah, with your
I'm,
astral body.
I'm really
Yeah.
serious because
Yeah.
I feel after these things and working on this and the has anybody heard about the overview effect? This
So
The
what?
the overview effect. The astronauts that go out when they see
Overview.
when they see the Earth from space, they get this. They see the whole picture, and it's a very
Oh yeah.
profound
Yeah.
experience. And I think when I saw that and I heard these things, I was like, wow, that's what some of these things have. When you have, and so that was why I think this is not just in your minds as such. Mind is out there looking back
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
on a lucky day.
Well, after that one, I thought, okay, that's obvious. That's completely obvious what that is. I've got to tell someone about this. So I went to see a friend of mine who, I mean, she's just a lovely bundle of joy. She's so friendly. She's so lovely and so keen. So I told her about it and said, right, this is how I think it works. Do you want to go and do it together? And she said yes. So we went down to. I used to live in Weymouth, so Weymouth has a beach.
Yeah.
So we went down to a beach in Weymouth, and we sat maybe sort of 5 meters apart, talking to the sky, and you could just see the cliff sort of going around in the distance, maybe 2 miles away, and we saw a little red and a green light over the cliffs, but it was 2 miles away, so it could have been a light aircraft, but it was moving at a decent speed. But as soon as we both focused our attention on it, it turned into a little ball of orange light, which got a bit bigger, a bit bigger, a bit bigger, and then it swelled up to something about the size of the sun in the night sky, without any brilliance or light shining off it, just a big orange ball, and then it sort of briefly flickered in volume, imploded in on itself, and then went back the other way. So
Okay, what? You check out our YouTube channel.
You've got something similar.
Yeah, they came and visited on New Year's evening, flew over the town twice, and I even got to film it. And when you said that, that's exactly what happened, just over the roof next to us. And you can see that it kind of just goes and disappears.
That's amazing.
So,
Okay, that's good.
And the funny thing was, because my wife, she goes, I'm outside, pretty drunk. It's New Year's evening, and I'm outside with them because I love fireworks. But when I'm doing fireworks, it's always like, hey, we're here, and it worked that year. That was 2004, January 1st, 2015, just after midnight. But it flew over twice, and I didn't see it the first time. My wife, she shouts out the window, "Film the spaceship, you idiot! Don't film the fireworks!" And I'm like, "Oh man!" And I shout to my neighbors, "Oh, come on over, look at the spaceship!" And they're like, "Run inside!" I'm like, "What? No, hello, friend." Blah, 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 blah. And it's very, but it's on our YouTube channel, and that was pretty amazing. And I was really amazed because as we talk about, the best experiences we have is far away from the city, where there's no people. Because then they can get close, because that's not, they don't scare anybody. But they came there, and I was like, why? And then I thought, because there's so many things, the fireworks going on, everybody is happy, nobody's gonna notice.
Yeah.
That was pretty weird.
Yeah, no, that's well, I mean the reason for me that the one with the red and the green light, if anyone had looked up at that while they were walking past, they would have thought the same thing as I did. It's a light aircraft, it's a plane, without thinking twice. Now the next experience after that, I went to a friend's house, and I hope you don't mind. I was having a little bit of a smoke at a friend's
That's
house,
okay.
and he wanted a cup of tea, and he didn't have any milk, but I had milk in the car. So I went outside to get some milk from the car, and he lives in a little cul-de-sac. Do you know what
What's
a
that?
cul-de-sac is?
Cul-de-sac.
It's this small sort of closed road of houses, so you can't go anywhere else other than
Oh
that
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Right.
so I went out to the boot, and I noticed, you know, when you look at stars sometimes, and you think maybe that might be something because the stars changing all manner of colours. But it's just the way that the light's refracting through the atmosphere. It's just not anything special. Well, I saw that, but it was over someone's house, and it was so obvious that it was over someone's house because the sense of perspective was all wrong. So I ran back into my friend's house and asked if he had any binoculars. He didn't. And again, this was half 11, 12 o'clock at night. I ran over to the house that this thing was over, knocked on the door. It's half 11, 12 at night, so the person that answered the door wasn't very happy to see me. And there's me going, "There's something weird above your house." So he slammed the door in my face. And then by the time that was over, this thing had disappeared and it had reappeared over someone else's house. So I ran.
Look here, look here, look here.
So it's like, this guy doesn't have binoculars, try this guy. So I went over to this guy's house and knocked on the door, and fortunately he was a really nice sort of older gentleman. He came out in his dressing gown. I said, "There's something strange above your house." He saw it too, so he ran back inside to get some binoculars. He came out with me. We were both looking at this thing for about sort of 5-6 minutes, and he said, "Okay, that's cool. Do you mind if I go back inside because I'm cold now?" I said, "No, that's no problem." Went back inside. I wish I'd done it when he was outside, but I don't know what would have happened. When he went back inside, I looked at this thing, and I didn't even have to have a train of thought. Literally, the instant that I thought, "Hello, what are you?" or whatever the case may be, the little ball of light got replaced by an enormous white sort of jelly bean shape, and it was about the size of this guy's house, above his rooftop, and it was just there it is, gone, and it was completely silent. It looked like someone had got a jelly bean stamp about the size of the house and just stamped into space-time, and the light was coming through. That's how impressive it was. So that was that one, and then the next one. This one freaks out a lot of people. So I was around a friend's house, another friend's house, and it was about 1:30 in the morning, and I didn't particularly want to go back home. So I decided to go for a walk, and I went down to the beach, a different spot this time. And there was a very low bank of cloud, and I thought I could see a little white light behind the cloud. So I started to ask it to do something so that I might understand what it is, or it may have been a plane, it may have been a helicopter, whatever the case. And each time I asked it to do something, it moved to the right a few times. Then an enormous white triangle, I mean like an isosceles triangle, not an equilateral triangle, a very thin triangle, came through the bank of cloud, maybe about 150, 200 feet. And this, oh my God, I mean, you know when you've got oil in water and the colors are constantly changing?
Oh
No, it was like that. I mean, this thing was so iridescent, and all the colors were coming through, and it was moving so slowly. But that looks strange. It's there. It's 150 feet. It's a multicolored isosceles triangle. It's obvious it's not something from Earth, but there was a very, very, very faint jet noise. So that reassured my conscience, my consciousness enough to think, okay, it's nothing too weird. I might be looking at a plane, but I was watching this thing go over, and it was moving inches across the sky. It was massive, and it went over the beach, over the esplanade, and disappeared. And I didn't think anything more of it, and I walked back home. And as I was I was probably about a minute away from my house. There's a crossroads, so I was coming up here, and my house was sort of down this road. and I heard shuffling of feet, behind me. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, the last thing I want is someone walking very, very close behind me. So what I did was
Why? It could be a nice woman.
Yeah. So I walked over the other side of the road so that I could look back at whoever it was that was walking very, very close behind me. And it was this man. He looked as if he was in his early 50s, mid 50s. He had like a Hawaiian multicolored shirt on and beige trousers, and I made sure I watched him walk down the street, and I stopped watching him when he was about 200, 300 feet down the street, so he was quite far away. And I put my hand in my pocket to get my phone out to pretend to look at my phone, and that took about a second. And from the second that I'd seen him 300 feet down the road to the point that I looked back up, he was there. And he'd managed to backtrack 300 feet in less than a second and completely silently. But because he was human, I didn't think anything of it. He just looked me dead in the eyes, and with a very sweet sort of smile, didn't say anything, no thoughts being projected in my head. And I just thought,
how
okay,
was your feeling in this moment? Were you afraid because he's so close at once?
No, I was just sort of concerned that he'd been following me, and I thought this would be a bit strange. So, I didn't talk to him. I just put my phone back in my pocket and carried on going down the street. And then when I looked back, he was gone. So, that was that experience. Now, from the start of the end of university, when I was pulled out of bed a couple of times, and throughout these experiences, I would occasionally wake up and feel like something was being done to me, or I had a very high sort of buzzing. Every cell felt like it was buzzing, and in my head, I just associated it with something ET, and that I didn't really particularly like it, that I didn't want it to happen. But it became quite regular, so it was just one of those things. But on this particular night, it happened again, and I was just pissed off. I thought, that's enough now, guys. I've got to go and tell my dad. This is really, really unsettling. So I woke up, and the room was pitch black. I could just about make out the furniture in there. I mean, it was blacker than my room had ever been before. I could just about make out the definitions of the outlines of things in my room. And I walked through my door. I didn't open the door. I walked through my door, which made complete sense to me at the time. And when you get out the bedroom door, there's a little sort of alcove or cubby hole where you go through to the lounge, or you go through to the study, or you go through to the bathroom. So it's not very big. So as soon as I got through, out of nowhere, this grey comes running in, with a big gait. I mean, he's running, and he puts his hands on my shoulder, and his nose is sort of pressed up against my face. And I put my fingers up against his face, and I remember how his gums feel. I remember feeling teeth, and I remember the smell. I mean, it was like being next to an elderly patient in a hospital ward. That very sort of clinical biological smell. And his eyes were wide, and then when his nose was there, they were very narrow. There was no thought. Skin tight black sort of suit. I didn't really look, but I'd seen his legs when he was running in, and he just moved away. And the only sense that I got was that it would be in my best interest to go back down and lie on the bed. So which is what I did. Now, going back to the experiences at university, where Ollie, you weren't here for this one. I don't know if Ollie's still here now, but where the second time that I'd been pulled out of my bed, I was shown an image of the top half of a surgeon with a surgical mask, which then disappeared, and then an image of a giant clipboard, which then disappeared, and then I was pulled slowly out of the bed. In my mind now, the only way that I can reconcile that is that they were showing me that they were doing some kind of procedure and that I didn't have anything to worry about. That's what makes sense. With this experience, where I basically got up out of bed, walked through the door, and the grey had come bolting in and put his hands on my shoulders and somehow suggested that the best thing to do was go back and lie down. The only thing that makes sense is that I was on an ET craft in some room on a bed. I'd woken up by accident, and they didn't anticipate that. But just in case, they presented an image or a hologram of my bedroom, so I wouldn't be worried. But then I did the stupid thing and actually got up and gone, perhaps gone beyond or was just about to go beyond the boundaries of this hologram, and the grey comes running in to try and stop me doing that, because if I had gone any further, I would have walked into the cockpit of a a fucking flying saucer and gone, what the hell?
I think that explanation is just as fine as anybody. Sounds could be could be. But what I'm thinking here is, and this is one of the things about.
Thank you, guys.
Again and again in this situation is that they are somehow in total control of the situation. Usually, okay. They probably freaked out when you got out of bed. I mean.
Yeah. Hey guys, I mean, look, I've been talking for a long time now, and I do have more experiences, but I'll stop talking now, and I just want to say, thank you for allowing me to talk about them. It's been a long time since.
Connect me on Facebook, and we can talk on some.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stay in touch.
No problem.
But actually, yes, we have been on for about an hour now or longer. So, and that's usually what we do. We have a beautiful night here today, so I want to go outside. But yes, it's some very interesting experiences you got, and as I said, lots of people have this experience. So but it can be very hard to find. How do you say? Equals, yeah. To find. What should I say? Yeah. A forum for this. But it is possible, and I think perhaps there's some people in the UK. I know if Martin, if they're going to do some retreats, CE-5 retreats. These people are pretty advanced and know stuff, personal friends, and I think perhaps that would be interesting for you to get in touch with those guys. But I think you should. You turned this mic off. Yeah. But I think we're gonna end here tonight. And that's been really, really interesting. And, stay in the hangout. We're gonna keep talking. And I want to say I'm not gonna do any guided meditation or anything tonight. If people want our guided meditation, go to our YouTube and take one of the old ones. Because, but it's been really interesting, and I think as one of the things I think everybody feel is that it's a very controlled environment when you have these experiences. This is not something that happens, by chance. And as you said also about, I wanted to try and it's a pretty heavy stuff, and I think it's important that you try to not to take this very seriously, but of course it has deep and profound effects on the people who have this. But as I said, it's always a very controlled environment, And as you said, at the time it made complete sense that I ran through the door. But that's because you're in some kind of controlled environment, and also because about a lot of people tell about they are feeling sometimes they're feeling this instinct to the flee instinct totally overwhelms them in these experiences, and then again not they don't even they feel it somehow or see themselves feeling it. I should be running, but they're not, and they don't feel afraid. because that's indications of these things are very much in control, you know, and also about the fear stuff and all these things. It is some kind of control situation, and the way you interpret your experience is also very much, I think, guided somehow. This is a very much a learning experience, I think, that goes on inside, you know. But it's been really, really interesting to hear, and thank you for sharing. And as I said, a lot of people have the same kind of experiences. You said about the plane stuff. We just a few weeks ago we were here. We've had a few sightings lately. Seems like the activity is increasing here. And perhaps I know where we are now, but we were actually because. We live pretty close to an airport, and there was my wife goes. We have this huge white, you know, craft come by, and it looks like the landing lights are on. And we were both watching it. And I was like, and my wife goes, it's a plane. It's a plane. It's got to be a plane, you know. Just wait. The noise is gonna come in a minute, you know, because the noise is coming after or something. And they're kind of like, okay. Now we're going to switch off the lights, you dumbass. And it just disappears right there. Oh, it was it was definitely. But people are seeing these things, and as I said, you know, depending on, I think it's very much depending on the level of fear and all these things, on how, and then it's a lot of, and as I said, a lot of other things. I think you very much. As I say, coherent thought sequence. You know, we getting, I can see that. We're getting better too, as you can say. I find the contact can be initiated much easier. I talk to the stars as well, you know, in the night. And sometimes, you know, I have this feeling, these strong feelings. As you said, you know, I have this feeling, this urge to go outside. When we had our first when we had the first sighting with my wife. It was the exact same thing. We were walking through a tunnel, and as I was in the tunnel, I knew when we came out the tunnel they were going to be there. And we come out the tunnel, and we look up, and I go, "There it is, wife." And my wife is like, "Oh yeah, you're right. Make them land." But the thing is, actually, and I said, you know, try to, you know, think in your head, change course, whatever, and it reacted not to my force, or perhaps, but you know. And that totally convinced her right away. So, but it was the exact same feeling, you know. Look up, we're here.
Yeah.
But also I would say, you know, the thing about sharing these experiences. I also shared sightings with people who got scared shitless, to be mild, and you know, go crazy. Don't want to talk about it. Don't want to tell anybody about it or anything. So that's also a way. Some people react to this, so I think it's very, you know, if you're really afraid of it, then don't try it, you know. It makes no sense anyways. But it's been really nice talking to you. Good to see you again, Ollie. Hope you don't mind the naked comment, naked Ollie in the hangout. But it's been really interesting, and let's stay in the hangout, and to all the people out there making contact tonight or on a global scale. Have a nice evening. You know, peace and light.
You too.
Oh, by the way, we decided to tell everybody to stop chasing them away with the lasers. It's not working. Use your mind. Yeah, don't scare them away with the lasers. There's no need for them. Just use your consciousness. So good night, and everybody out there have a nice contact. And you guys. Oh, by the way, almost forgot. Yeah, the tomatoes, they are finished. So I've been throwing the tomatoes in the hangout since we started with the rotten ones. They taste fantastic, and the grounding has been amazing. So it worked. Woohoo! Happy contact. See you guys. Stay in the hangout.